Hello, my name is Matthew, and there's Daphne. And a few days ago, I read Bel Ami by Guy de Maupassant. I've read it before. I think this is my third time reading this book, but this was a new translation by Ernest Boyd. And before I talk about the book specifically, I just want to give some of my thoughts on the writer Guy de Maupassant, who is one of my absolute favorite writers, probably a very top tier, top five. While I'm reading Maupassant, top three. The only qualifier, of course, is that I can't read French. I can't speak French, so my only exposure to Maupassant is through English language translations, and I've never read a bad translation of Maupassant. If you read anything in Penguin Classics, Oxford World Classics, the NYRB Classics, this is Vintage Press. They're all good, and the best way I can describe Maupassant is if you already like Gustave Flaubert, Madame Bovary, Sentimental Education, you have a world ahead of you. Maupassant was a protege of Flaubert. They have very similar writing styles, with the major exception that Maupassant was incredibly prolific. He has dozens and dozens of short stories. I've never read a bad thing by Maupassant. I've never read a bad story by Maupassant. And he's generally known, at least from what I understand, as one of the eminent short story writers. But he also has a good handful of novels, maybe five or six or seven novels, that are all also fantastic. He's so effortlessly brilliant at describing the world on the page. Just any few short sentences, one or two sentences, and he can describe a whole person's life or a person's distinct personality. Famously, he could describe a tree in a few lines that would make that tree distinctive and unique to the point that you could walk down a park and identify that tree by Maupassant's description. And he's so confident in what he does. This is sort of a big society novel. He can do supernatural stories. He can be fantastical. He can be incredibly cynical and dark. He can be funny. He can be ethereal and light and eloquent and light touching. He can also hit like a sledgehammer. I think one of his defining features is being able to stick the landing of a short story all the way down to the last paragraph, the last sentence, the last word, and it just slams you into, a great reading experience. So, Bel Ami, I think, is probably his most well-known novel. I would think that The Necklace or The Ball of Fat would be Le Soul de Bouffe or something like that, would be his two of his more famous short stories. I do believe that this is his longest novel, maybe his longest work. And it's the story of George, what is his last name? I read it a few days ago, so the names are already escaped me. George DeRoy, and he is going to be our principal character. I think this would be a good companion volume if you're comparing similar kinds of stories to Sentimental Education and also The Red and the Black by Stendhal, where it's a society novel showing the corruption. Oh my God, excuse the heavens, showing the corruption and debauchery of society. Our focal point, our main character that we're following, is a debaucherous libertine, and he is immoral, has no scruples with being disloyal to people, being incredibly self-serving, having a distinctly Machiavellian worldview, whatever means it takes to get what he wants. If he gets what he wants, then it is permissible. And kind of hilariously, this is a man that's woman crazy. He's just mad about sex. He's constantly trying to have sex. And he's described as quite handsome. The title of the book, Bel Ami, which I think a literal translation is good friend. And if you have read the book, the things that this guy does to the people around him, the people that were close to him, the people that built him up and put him in good standing, high society, wealth, the things that he does to the people around him, to call this book Good Friend is one of the most sinister titles, and brilliant. But Bel Ami, that's his nickname. This translation, his nickname in the book is Pretty Boy, which I think is hilarious. And we follow him just out of the military, and he's in Paris at the beginning of the book, impoverished. He's literally looking at the money that he has and debating that he could have 3 dinners until his next payment, military payment, pension, or he could have 3 lunches with beer. And so it gives you an idea of how much money he has. Not much. He has kind of a shabby suit. And speaking of this guy being sex crazy, he's also incredibly handsome and charming. Not, I would say more handsome than charming, because all of these women are happily sleeping with him. There's even a prostitute who's so enamored by his good looks. She's giving him discounts. But he, on the street, runs into an old military friend, someone that he was on the campaign with, and they strike up an immediate friendship, and he gets him a job at the newspaper. It's called like Vive la France or something. The thing is, George, Pretty Boy, is not all that bright. He's mediocre. He's not a dumb person, but there's not much knocking around in his head except for the ladies. So the friend that he met that got him this post and gets him a job to be a journalist, he has his wife, and we learn that this wife, this woman, I think it was Madeline, terrible with names, she's really the brain behind the scenes. So these different writers and people that are putting out articles, she's essentially ghostwriting them. And we learn this because George realizes, he goes home to write his first article, and he realizes he doesn't know what to write. He's never written anything before. And in a panic, he goes over with the intent of finding his friend to help him get him on his feet. He finds himself with that friend's wife, who then writes like a brilliant first article that gets published. And in a great comic scene, he wakes up the day of the paper that his article is in the paper, and he's going around town buying these papers and reading them in public places and kind of announcing in cafes, "Oh, what a brilliant article," and then leaving the paper on the table and going somewhere else. He then finally finds himself uh, back in the newspaper, and his now boss says, "Okay, what article do you have today?" And it didn't occur to him that this daily paper would want daily material. And he then runs back to his friend's house and his wife to get another article out of them. And they basically say, like, what do you think? Like, you're just going to come over here, we're going to write the thing for you, you're going to take it back over there and now have a salary? Like, no, get out of here. I'm focusing too much on the scene. What ends up happening is the orbit around him. Um, he's kind of crawling up their shoulders, and all the while um, sleeping with everybody. Uh, and basically, everybody in this book is sleeping with someone uh, else. uh, and that friend eventually dies, and he immediately marries this woman who he thought that he kind of loved, thought that she would be a good wife. He has other mistresses, of course, and it's at this point that you're kind of thinking, it's about the middle of the book, he hasn't done anything too horrible. He's done horrible things, but he's now he's married. He's got a good job. He's figured out how to write. He's kind of in good standing. He married a woman that he wanted to marry, um, and you think, okay, like he could settle down, and he does not. He gets worse and more callous, and the things that he starts doing after this point, which I won't spoil, I suppose, makes him a thoroughly unlikable monster. Just monstrous things. And you're reading it thinking, like, you are betraying this person in the most unholy way. It's god awful. And then beautifully written. The thing is that he can have the most cynical, pessimistic, hard-edged, angry passages or language, passages written in the most beautiful language. And there's one scene that I do want to point out. It's the night before the duel. There's a duel in this book, and this was a kind of a common motif, common topic for Maupassant. There's several short stories that have similar dueling episodes. But when I think about some of the earlier French books that I've been reading, this has been very much a decadent French reading summer for me. And seeing the progress of novels from the 1700s, early 1800s, mid 1800s, up to the end of the 1800s with Maupassant, and now with a much more realistic writing style. And what sets this book apart really comes, in my mind, from the depth of human psychology, because we spend the night with him the night before this duel, and we just go deep into his thoughts, his fears, his revelation, I'll say, that he is going to die. It could be tomorrow, or just sometime in the future. He's mortal, and he's sitting there basically shivering, awake at night, thinking like this time tomorrow I might be dead. And when you think about the things that have happened up to this point, you might think, well, this could be the moment that he kind of learns a lesson, realizes you only have one time on this earth. We should be treating people with respect and decency, and should be courteous and generous and loyal. He does learn a lesson, but it's not that lesson. Instead, it's you have one life on this earth, and I'm going to do everything that I want at the expense of anything or anyone around me. So, those are my thoughts on Bel Ami by Guy de Maupassant. I did mark several passages, but I think I'll stop there. It's one of the best French novels that I've read, right up there with anything by Flaubert. I will say, to circle back, I mentioned how prolific Maupassant is. If you've read Flaubert and you think like, boy, I wish there was more that I could read, there probably is, because he has some other things out there that are a little bit more obscure. So if you think that there's only 2 or 3 things by Flaubert, there is quite a bit more, but nothing compared to the volumes, the shelves that Maupassant could fill. So let me know if you've read this book or if you like Maupassant. Argue about my French pronunciation in the comments, please. And thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you would like. And thank you and take care. Bye.